All right. So next up, we have a client team. So we've got Joe Reisdyke, Jamie, and Jackson. They're going to be talking to you about the next generation compute, docks, device and fleet management tools. There's a lot here, and I need to get out of their way. Joe, welcome. Jamian, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'll step aside. Hey, guys, have at
All
it.
right. Thank you. Thank you. Austin, first slide, please. So we're going to talk a bit about innovation, brainification, and then docking, of course. So some really great things coming. So we're excited about them. We've shared with a lot of customers already face to face, and we're really hearing outstanding feedback. So really, the new Dell portfolio brings fresh, clean, timeless looking systems that are business professional. The smallest, lightest in our class. They're made of durable, reliable materials built for the workday. Alongside the beautiful designs, these really redefine professional grade. But to put it simply, we completely redesigned this portfolio for both notebooks and for the desktops. So let's jump in. So the all new chassis designs, you're really going to see three materials on the notebooks. You're going to see the magnesium alloy, and that's very aesthetically pleasing, lightweight, and durable. You're going to find that you're going to hear that in our premium class, is where you're going to find that thinnest, lightest, maybe for your C-suite, your outside sales team. Those kind of people are the ones that are going to really benefit from that one. But in our main device, our mainstream device, it's going to be made out of a platinum colored aluminum chassis. Really looks outstanding, super durable, and a great price point. And that's going to be in our plus space. And I'll dive into that a little bit later. And then finally, we'll have more of a budget conscious there for pricing, very versatile, and that'll be a polymer based chassis. So that's what you're going to get from those chassis designs. You're also going to get 16 by 10 aspect ratios across the portfolios. So we're moving in that direction off the 16 by 9 to 16 by 10. There's going to be better productivity from it. There's going to be less scrolling up and down the screen, more vertical space on your screen, and more efficient use of the overall experience. Display options. We've heard your voice when we're out on site with customers or doing virtual sessions. We really want to hear our customers' opinions, and we use those. So OLED's been an ask. We've got a new tandem OLED screen. Tandem OLED is very power efficient, has superior brightness, reduces your eye strain, and has enhanced durability. Going back to that user interface, the user feedback. So modular Type-C and I/O boards. So enable to move from the barrel connector to the Type-C connector. The industry as a whole is really seeing that connector is a little more fragile on the motherboard than what the barrel connector was. We're doing a lot more with it. It's not just power anymore. You know, all your data, audio network, all goes through that connector. So today, if a Type-C port breaks, then it's a matter of moving forward with, hey, we've got to replace the motherboard. So to replace the motherboard, you've got to unscrew the chassis, pull the motherboard out, disconnect the Wi-Fi, remove the RAM, move the hard drive. And then that's just the physical pieces of it. Then we have to talk about what's TPM looking at, what's encryption doing, what's BitLocker doing. And then we have to re-image and move the user data. So because of this, you'll now be able to open the chassis, lift up the motherboard, and install a modular USB-C port. Customers have absolutely loved this news. My engineer here, Jamie, and I were in a presentation, and we actually got a standing ovation when we presented this portion of it. So that is, once again, your feedback. Please continue providing feedback on these things. We'd love to hear more of how we can continue to improve. You'll see that on I/O boards, just so we can continue to get better in that space. Looking at RAM and memory. So Dell, about 3 years ago, created CAM memory, and it was really created to address the shortcomings of the SODIMM form factor. It's really reached a threshold of how fast it can go. So with this new technology, the CAM memory, which we took to, along with our partners that were interested in the same technology, we took to the JEDEC board. JEDEC certifies specifications, and it was certified. But it was Dell IP, and we're like, how do we get this to scale? And able to get it to scale, we'll need to open this up. So we opened up the IP. We have our competitions using CAM as well. I think our official name now is CAM 2. We've been asked to rebrand it as CAM 2, but it brings higher bus speeds. You've seen some of our systems up to 7,500 mega transfers, just smoking fast. Improved signal integrity. So if you think about, it's a tighter product. Doesn't have so much wire to traverse. It reduces the latency. It's a smaller form factor, which means it allows us to shrink our devices and continue to get thinner and lighter. And it reduces thermal issues. Matter of fact, using CAM memory, we can now get 256 gig of RAM on a mobile device. That's incredible. You can think about 64 was really the cap. We stretched out to 128 with SODIMM, but now we can hit 256. So we're really thrilled about that. Adaptive thermals and acoustics. We have an entire team of just thermal engineers, acoustic engineers. Their job is to take those CPUs that our partners work so hard on to keep cool and keep them running quickly and performing well. And how do we put these in our systems and keep them that way? Well, we're using things like changing the fan blade material, changing the number of fan blades, changing the thickness of the fan blades, changing the ingress and egress of the air, intelligent thermal management through the system, letting AI take care of that, optimizing cooling and noise levels through that. And then now you'll see dual fan technologies that we've had in some of our really high-end systems are moving down into the mainstream systems as well. So you're going to see some of those great things. Finally, docking solutions. We've got an entirely new docking solution. We had, if you recall, the C, D, and E port replicators, kind of where you would push your system down and it would mount into the dock. That was greater than 10 years. I think close to 20 years is that family. About 7 years ago, we moved to the WD, the wired docking solution. And that's been 7 or 8 years now. So that was our commitment, was to make it last 5 to 7 years. But now with the evolution of Thunderbolt 5, we've really had the ability to respin our docks. And I'll give you just a couple highlights of things we're going to do. Remote management that is without a physical system connected to the dock. And I'll talk more about that here in a moment. That's really innovation story about our chassis. The next thing, next slide, please. So you're going to see expanded CPU offerings. You heard Callie say Intel, AMD, and Qualcomm. Yes, we offer all those in our client systems this year. It really allows us to have better competition across the board. Intel will have their Ultra Series 2, their V Series, their U Series, their HX. AMD will have Ryzen. We have Threadripper already, and then Qualcomm has their Snapdragon in place. We'll go beyond the CPU and GPU. All of the new systems in 2025 will have the neural processing unit, so that NPU. I know Sabu is going to talk about the NPU here in a little bit, but really think about it as a three-legged stool. Traditional architecture is really about CPU and GPU. The NPU allows offloading at a very low power cost, so it saves your battery. So you can see here CPU, NPU, and GPU work together for increased battery life, and it's very significant increased battery life. We'll offer really 3 flavors of NPU: AI PC, Copilot Plus PC, and AI Workstation with a discrete graphics card. Next slide, please. One more. Let's talk about our brand here. So our goal is always to be innovating, improving, and simplifying our solutions. We listen. Evidence of that is that Type-C connector, that modular Type-C connector that's going to really make your IT teams much more efficient. It'll remove the delay of ordering a motherboard and waiting on it. It'll make it easier for your teams to actually replace that instead of ordering a technician if needed. Through that same user feedback loop, we surveyed, interviewed about 13,000 customers and partners and said, we want to make this easier. What are you seeing? The complexity was around our model numbers. How do we make that simpler? And that's our goal. Next slide, please. So we've really taken 8 well-known products. You'll see 7 here. Alienware is the 8th. Alienware will continue to maintain its own brand. But if you take the Inspiron XPS, G, Vostro, that's really good consumer line. Your commercial enterprise suite that most of you guys on this call are using, Latitude, Optiplex, and Precision, will merge into their own brand as well. Next slide, please. So I mentioned Dell. That's where you've got your Inspiron XPS, G series, the Vostros. The Dell Pro, that's your commercial enterprise productivity office suite user. So there's really 3 flavors within that, and we'll go into that in a minute. And then there's the Dell Pro Max. That's your commercial enterprise maximum performance multitasking system. So if you're looking at, like I said, office suite, productivity, AI on the edge, Dell Pro's got a solution. If you're looking for multitaskers doing a lot of Teams, a lot of Excel, a lot of, think about it, even Adobe, AutoCAD, something where you have to add an application, it's really going to fit in that maximum performance. We've really drawn a line of delineation here. Before, you could buy a Latitude or an Optiplex and max it out. You could put a GPU in it. You could put a higher wattage CPU in it. That won't be the option any longer. If you want a higher wattage CPU or a graphics card, discrete graphics card, it's going to be in the Dell Pro Max line. So if you think about, we've really defined that, and that's where we're going with it. Within those bands, you see Dell Pro Premium, Dell Pro Plus, and Dell Pro. So the Dell Pro Premium, I mentioned it earlier, magnesium alloy chassis, thinnest, lightest, most premium, most aesthetically pleasing, not the most powerful, but it's going to be like our innovation incubator. So if you think about the zero lattice keyboard or the collaboration touchpad, those are kind of things that are outstanding features we've rolled into our top of the line premium. And as customers, buy them, they love them, they adopt them, we'll roll them into the other systems. For instance, the Plus. The Plus is our mainstream system. It's the most scalable. It's going to have options for 10 key. It's going to have options for 2-in-1. It's going to have replaceable RAM if you want to go that route. It'll also have Ethernet port. So this is kind of a collaboration between our former Latitude 7000 with that aluminum alloy chassis and the 5000 series Latitude. So we're bringing those two together to give you a lot more scalability and a lot more flexibility. And then finally, on the Dell Pro side, that's the essential performance and productivity. That's going to be your polymer chassis. And that's really kind of an integration of the Latitude 3000 and 5000. We've taken the best features of both, put them together. That's how the portfolio itself lines out. Next slide, please. So let's take a look at what does this new model numbers look like. So I'm going to challenge each of you to simply look at this, look at the 14 and tell me what size screen do you think this might be. Super easy. Obviously, it's a 14-inch system. If you're familiar with the displays model and how the product model number lays out, this is very similar to that. So if you're using a 24-inch display, it's going to have a 24 there. Formerly, we would only have a 4 here. Think about the Latitude 5450. The second digit was a screen size of 14 inches. Now we're calling it out 14 inches. The next pair of numbers is the generational launch year. So that's what the year we launched this system, 2025. Formerly, this was a random number. It was different with Latitude. It was different with Precision. It was different with Optiplex. They were all unique. The challenge came in, for instance, when you wanted to go to Windows, from Windows 10 to Windows 11, you had to have TPM 2.0 to get there, right? So if I were to challenge you and say, tell me which Latitude, tell me which Precision, tell me which Optiplex have TPM 2.0 and are eligible to move on to Windows 11. Nobody knows that. There's a table to look it up. It's a math problem to solve. We don't want that for our customers. We said at the beginning, this is about simplicity, about removing complexity, and that's what we're doing. So in the future, when Windows comes out with Copilot plus PC 13, whatever they're going to call Windows in the future, we can say, hey, what were the system requirements required for that? Okay, and what year were those available? They were available in 2025. Guess what? We specifically called out 2025 in our model number. That makes it easy for you to move on to the next iteration. And that's our goal, make it easy for you. The last digit tells you who's a CPU vendor. Is it Intel, is it AMD, or is it Qualcomm? Now, most of our customers say 14250, love it, easy. It transcends across all of the platforms, very easy. Let's look at these letters. So I'm going to try to make this easy for you. Let's not worry about we're going to go all the way to the left. Don't worry about Dell, C, D, and E. That's consumer. We're going to focus on enterprise and commercial systems. So if you look at Dell Pro, you see it's highlighted. Dell Pro laptop is the letter P. So P fits up in the product line category. Now let's go to the next bracket, tier, the configuration. A Dell Pro Premium, thinnest, lightest, most mobile, most aesthetically pleasing system is an A, it's a premium. But I know a lot of our customers buy the Latitude 5000 today. That one really seamlessly transitions into the PB 14250. So what's the B? B is the plus. Plus means it has capability of Ethernet port, capability of upgradable RAM, capability of a 10 key, capability of 2-in-1. So that's your most flexible, scalable, the most sold system we've had in the past. PB 14250. I hope that has a little bit of clarity around it. Let's take a look at the desktops. Next slide, please. Usually the question that we get at this point is, what's it look like in my management tools and what's it look like on the sticker? So on the back of the system, you'll see the sticker here at the top. It says Dell Pro Max Tower T2. So we can find all that out by looking at the table below, and this table is available online. I'll drop it in to the chat after I'm done speaking, but you can also click on the barcode with your phone, and it'll bring you to the system. So great tools to have. On the back of the systems, they're going to say just simply Pro and Pro Max in big letters, but you'll look at this service tag sticker, and this will give the information. Here's the actual name. Here's the actual model number. Here's the year it was built. Here's the service tag, and here's the express service code. Those are all available to you on the back of the system now. What's it look like in my Intune and my SCCM and my case? What's it look like in my management tools? You're going to see the same thing. You're going to see the model number. So if we walk through, instead of the screen size, because this is a desktop, there's no screen size, you see T2 here. So you can see that's a Tower 2, still calendar year 25. It's an Intel proc. Now, if we go back all the way to the left, you're going to see Dell Pro Max desktop. So that's a Dell Pro Max. That means it's got the capabilities for upgradable RAM. It's probably got a higher wattage CPU, maybe an i9 even, and a graphics card. So that's where you get that. And then the tier is the A, B, and C. And you're really not going to find a lot of premiums and pluses in the desktops. All right, next slide, please. I mentioned earlier, if you're familiar with the displays and monitors, model numbers, really very similar. CPC P for professional is what you guys know it as today, but it's moving to the Dell Pro Plus. You see it's still a P. 24, that's the screen size. The year it was launched was 24. So this is a little bit different for displays. They're changing it to match the systems. Today, the displays, or formerly in 24, the displays use the fiscal year, not the calendar year. So they'll be changing the calendar year. And then the HE at the end, that really identifies what's the resolution and are there any special features out here. Now, we've got some new special features with some of our monitors, and I wanted to call some of those out. We're looking at Thunderbolt 4, 140 watt capabilities of power delivery on some of our new ones. IPS black, which is a deeper, richer colors. Hardware blue light filtering, so that it takes the strain out of your eyes, so that at the end of the day you don't have a headache from squinting at your screen or from the light, the blue light coming through. RJ45 will move to 2.5 gig on some of the systems. 120 gigahertz refresh rate gives you better motion clarity and enhances your productivity, reduces your eye strain. Built-in cameras, built-in mics, built-in Ethernet hubs, built-in speakers. All those things are available in our monitors today. It's really a full solution. And I'd like to call your attention to a new 14-inch display we recently released. We had one about 2 years ago. We refreshed it. The new one, it's still less than £1. It's an accompanying 14-inch. So you really stick it next to your notebook, plug it in via Type-C. It does power pass-through, but less than £1. FHD plus now, 16:10 plus now. It goes into either landscape or portrait mode. So formerly, you just had it like this. Now, if you want to set it up and code on it, or you want to have your Teams or Zoom on it, it's available for that. It's got a VESA mount on the rear. Just all around great solution. All the customers we've shown that have loved it, and it's been very successful. Next slide, please. So docking. Docking is in the same boat, same model numbers. So this is, you're used to seeing a WD. There's still a WD dock, but 3 of the 4 docks have moved to SDs. SD is a smart dock, and we'll go into smart docking here in just a moment, but still at the calendar year of release. And then what are the underlying connectivity and technologies? This is a Thunderbolt 4. We also have a Thunderbolt 5 dock that'll launch in July, and I'll talk more about that in a moment. Next slide, please. All right, so to bring this brand unification message together with not just the systems I talked about, not just the displays and not just the docks, the peripherals are all part of this as well. So we're moving the brand as a whole to the brand unified, same model number styles. So you'll see it in headsets, keyboard, mice, backpacks. We talked about docks. You'll see it in, so that peripherals are covered, and now services as well. So the full solution will use the same brand unification message. And once again, it's there to simplify things, simplify and reduce complexity. Okay, next slide, please. One more. All right, so docking. Connectivity is the first thing everybody sees on this slide. You can see on the upper right-hand side, the cable comes out of the middle now. So formerly, the cable came out of the side and had the modular port that went on there. This new docking, the cable comes out of the middle, and it allows you to set your desk up any way you want. Like right now, I'm using a Thunderbolt dock, and it's here, and I've got to have my system appropriately stationed. But with this new style coming out of the middle, you can put it anywhere. And the corners of the docks have cable management on it. So you can lay it in the little tray and hook it in the corner, just like you see on the photo there, and that makes it much simpler. So ambidextrous cable is one thing. It moves up to Thunderbolt 5. With Thunderbolt 5 comes a lot of upgrades. Previously, if you had a higher end precision, you had to have a dual connector dock, 2 cables. So you ate up 2 Thunderbolt ports. We're now able to push 300 watts across one single cable with Thunderbolt 5. So that reduces the number of docks in our portfolio as well. Manageability, I talked about remote management earlier, or I talked about remote management without a connected device. We've done some wonderful things there. It's got a wireless module in it, and I won't steal Jamie's thunder. I'll just touch on it, but it's got a wireless module in there that connects wirelessly, and the wireless is only for management. This is not a wireless access point for your end users to connect, but it uses WPA3 security, 192-bit security. We'll talk more about that and the tools that manage it here in a moment. But upgrade from a gig to 2.5 gig. Of course, all the Dell security features are used to, and sustainability. Next slide, please. What are these bringing? So the top are the new docks. The bottom is the previous gen docks, and you can see how they align. So starting on the left, you can still go do a wired dock. With that wired dock, you're going to get an upgrade from 90 watts to 100 watts because our systems are continuing to grow in their wattage needs. But you're going to get more ports. You're going to get more video ports as well. So there's 4 video ports on here. A lot of people are like, hey, I can only connect 3. That's been a normal thing. And that's because there's 2 display ports, 1 HDMI and 1 display port, and over Type-C. And that Type-C and that HDMI are married or muxed. So you can only use one of the 2. It was there for flexibility so the customers could do however they want, but we really found user feedback was we need more ports. So we've unmuxed those. You now have 2 display ports, an HDMI and a display port over type C to use. Those are all available to you. You can find that across the board. Power goes up as you go across. You can see the smart dock with 130 watts. And like I said, management without a system connected to the dock. You can connect to the dock wirelessly or via Ethernet and manage that dock. As we scale up, more resolution support, greater monitor support, going, for instance, from FHD all the way up to 8K support. Next slide, please. Here's kind of a little bit of information regarding the displays and supportability of displays. You can see a lot of display capabilities now. One more, please. All right. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to my systems engineer, Jamie Jackson. He's going to dig into a little bit on how do we manage these docks, what are the tools, and what other things do we get out of this. So thank you. Appreciate your time today.